Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving me a screen. My name is Gawel Solosky from Bengal University. I wanted to talk about dark fermentation, and I wanted to talk about special case of dark fermentation that was recently reported in latest Energies issue from February. And this issue is very giving some new insight of dark fermentation that can be very changing the thinking about this process. Maybe I will give you a link. So this is maybe later. Yes, I put the link. This is very nice article on the charts because this article is showing that we can omit some processes. What is dark fermentation? Dark fermentation is production of hydrogen from organic matter, usually from organic waste. As I told you, the major limitation is so-called Taylor rule, Taylor limitation. Taylor limitation is the term which describes the phenomena of dark fermentation bacteria that from one glucose can produce only 4 moles of hydrogen in case of acetic pathway, and mostly by butyric due to the high Gibbs energy. High Gibbs energy is by this a very big barrier to the to industrial scale. But according to this Energies article by Dr. Toscano, you can omit this case in some time in case of special case, because Toscano find after the other articles made by some exception from rules that he found from Dr. Ergal and Dr. Jacques, that they both omit this. Dr. Jacques omitted from Florida University, omitted this rule by using the two cases of him in two cases, because the prime material of dark fermentation is glucose, modern fermentation. And if we consider that for dark fermentation, we need this substrate to cleave into glucose and then convert this bacteria into hydrogen. In this case, we produce hydrogen organic acids. But this professor Zhang, he found that if we, in case of thermophilic bacteria, in case of thermophilic process, so because we have 3 processes, thermophilic, mesophilic, and psychophilic. In case of psychophilic, the bacteria that promotes to hydrogen are optimal 20 to 30, and from mesophilic 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, which is more favored by European or some other methods. And there are thermophilic from 55 to 65, and these are usually bacteria living on volcano lakes. This case was found that if, like Dr. Zhang found that in the case if we mix the enzyme that occurs in bacteria from thermophilic and other enzymes that are good for cellulosic dextrin enzyme, cellulosic dextrin kinase, we make bacteria calm because we transfer already not to, as found this professor from Professor Toscano, we omit bacteria limitation, which is Tower rule. So this, because we cross into an initial material, which is cellulose, or in the second case, this Professor Zhang found this in case of xylose, which is special kind of sugar. Xylose is 5-member, not like, and they found that we can, by this, we omit this method and use thermophilic conditions. We can even higher to 10 moles of hydrogen. So almost 90% yield we can get. This is very important because this shows that if we can omit this barrier by some special case, so mixing many kind of enzyme can be measured. But the method was unpopular because this mixture of enzyme was quite artificial according to scientists. So they don't use and don't promote. But they make by Edgar, he found another rule that if we mix the anaerobic bacteria by mixing also enzymes in case of anaerobic digestion, we can omit also. This is the case that we need to mix many enzymes, so it works it worked also and modify these bacteria specifically that they work in these enzymes in different mesophilic conditions. So now combining these methods form new methods, and Dr. Toscano used special mixture of enterobacteria and hydrolysate made by enzymes from bacteria for cellulose, and this hydrolysate make this change. Therefore, it is the even 1.1 mole of hydrogen per glucose equivalents. This research is very important because this shows that we can omit this barrier, but very cunning by using and mixing different enzymes. There is this discussion about cost because some the research does about such method is cheap. Our Dr. Zhang said that was even cheaper than in case from gas. But this is the research. And I wanted to do this because if we can produce 10, this will change the profitability of dark fermentation by that itself can be, not only by some supporting system, but it can produce much organic waste and in quite little energy. And I'm looking forward for, and I will be also by myself if I have some opportunity to get such bacteria, such enzymes, because we're isolated from bacteria that were living in Vesuvio, near Vesuvio volcano, and this they was growing on special giant reeds. And this is the very good information that we can, in some case, but by mixing, it shows if this research will be confirmed that other would be great. But remember that sometimes there are some mistakes, but I hope because was found by both error correction, I think that will be correct. So this is the change of view. But still, if we don't use this enzyme special case, which are called artificial because this mixture of enzyme doesn't work and bacteria are so special modified, then we can obtain. But this is the future, and I hope that we will see the next method. Thank you very much.